Welcome to GPS Ontario. My name is Morley Wallace. I'm owner of GPS Ontario, and my son is Jordan Wallace, co-owner of GPS Ontario. We're located in North Gore, just a few towns west of here, and local here in the Eastern Ontario region. We're a precision ag specialized company. We specialize in precision ag. We don't get into selling combines and selling sprayers, self-propelled sprayers, and that kind of stuff. That's somebody else's job. Our job is to set those sprayers and those planters and that equipment up with the ability to capture data and to capture the information that is being how many seeds are going in the ground and how much chemical is going in the ground, how much chemical is being sprayed out of that sprayer and what is the chemical. All that data is being collected, and we provide the systems to allow us to be able to do that, or allow you to be able to do that. There's been some changes in the industry in the last 6 months where AGCO has purchased 70% of the Trimble Precision Ag division, and it's now called PTX. So you're going to be hearing and seeing the logo PTX, and that's Trimble and AGCO partnership dealing with precision ag equipment. We today have brought down 3 pieces of equipment that basically is going to help take your farm to the next level of precision ag and precision work in your farm. And one of them is going to be a quick draw system, which is a chemical mixing terminal or base station. And Jordan will talk to you and give you more of the specific details in a second on that. The second item we have is the Kubota tractor here with a Sabanto system on it. The Sabanto system changes that tractor from a farmer-operated tractor to a fully autonomous tractor, where the operator there's no operator sitting on the seat, but it's out there doing the job that you've asked it to do. And then the third item that we will be talking about, if we have time, is the Hool blade. And this blade, is what we're talking about here, will be land forming, leveling land, dealing with those wet holes that Mother Nature is showing you that you have this year. So with those 3 items, I think we'll have a full 30-minute session here talking about precision ag and how precision ag deals with your farming operation. So I'll turn this over now to Jordan and let him continue.
All right. So like Morley said, my name's Jordan Wallace, and I handle a lot of the advanced technical solutions with GPS Ontario. Today we've got our tender trailer here. This is a unit that we've put together with SurePoint Ag. So chemical safety, mixing, and accuracy is really important as we start getting into some of these different chemicals that we're working with. But the other big factor that comes into it is operator safety and user safety, right? So one of the benefits with the quick draw system that's here is you simply load your recipe into the onboard computer. You can use your iPad to link up to it as well. Once you select your recipe, you can tell it how big your sprayer tank size is or how many acres of product you want to mix. And you literally walk up and hit start. The unit starts the electric pump, pumps all of the product through, rinses after each product and chemical is added. And then once all of your chemicals added, rinses the entire station again and sends all the product out into the sprayer. So we can switch from herbicide to fungicide to insecticide without disconnecting any tubes, any hoses, and having no chemical contact for you, the operator and farmer. The other thing that's really neat is when you have 3-inch plumbing on this, I can load a 1,500-gallon 4-way mixed spray in about 7 minutes, which cuts your load times down from about 25 to 30 down into a really quick, I'm in and out of the yard. I've got one producer that's looking at this unit right now, and he says, if you can get me in and out of the yard in 10 minutes, he says, Dad doesn't have time to put his boots on to come out and have a 45-minute chat with me. Right? So it starts to basically work on that speed and efficiency. We can do dry and liquid. So the chem blade, or the chem blade caddy on the front there, we can mix ATS through the units if you're having a pH imbalance in your water and you need something to balance that pH up. Yeah.
Maybe a dumb question, but like there's 100% no cross contamination.
None.
Chemicals. Like it's 100% clean.
Clean.
Wow.
Yep.
Like zero.
Zero. We've got vineyards that are running multi-mix containments, and they're running 700,000 gallons through each of the tanks a year, and they're having zero issues. Yeah, yeah. We customize all of the rinse time. So if we get into something like dicamba, one of the questions we had in the last session was, is a 3-second rinse enough for dicamba? And well, what we're doing is we're rinsing the entire containment, but as soon as all of the product's done, we rinse the entire cabinet again. So we're basically correct. We customize that time.
We put water in anyway, right?
Exactly. So we're just pumping through where it is.
I like that.
It's really fast. It's really simple. On my farm, we have a very simple herbicide program. I'm 100% glyphosate, right? It's easy. Mix it, go. I don't need a 6 containment mixing system. I only need 1. But at the end of the day, I was doing a burn down here a couple weeks ago, and I only needed 18 acres of chemical. So instead of mixing an entire 750 gallon tank, I told it I need 18.25 acres. Start, it loads my sprayer. It automatically does all the math to the right amount of product that I need to load into the sprayer. And I can switch from a full tank to a half tank to I want 500 gallons or I want 8.5 acres by flipping that toggle. I'm not sitting there with a calculator going, well, I need 22 acres. Today I think I need, yeah, it's just add the jug, right? And that's the way that agriculture is really going with this precision ag. So the pump automatically starts when you hit the start recipe. It will pump through and run. I'll start it here and let it kind of get started, and then I'm going to kill it, and we'll continue on talking while it's there. But it's as simple as walking up once you have your recipe loaded and hitting start. Maybe. It opens up the valve. It starts pumping the product. You'll see the one tank starting to come down. Makes it really easy. And you can terminate a batch, you can pause a batch. So if you have a manual product you want to add to it, it'll basically get to that certain point. It'll basically shut off until you add whatever it is to it. Like I said, we can add as many granular products or materials as you want. This tower is set up for 6 products. They make a 4, a 6, and a 9. And then there's options for adding 9 manual products through the chem blade. So super simple to operate. Anybody can do it. It's really, really easy. Okay. A couple other products that SurePoint makes. If you're looking at adding liquid fertilizer to your corn planter, grain drill, air seeder, that kind of stuff, they make what they call pump right and liquid shift. So if you're running a interplant based planter and you want to run from 5 gallons of starter to 2.5 gallons of starter on soybeans, you don't have to change your orifices. It automatically orificizes based on your ground speed and your pressure. If you get into variable rate, it'll actually auto shift that orifice range so that you maintain that consistent backflow and pressure all the time. And if you're having an issue with some of your liquid fertilizers and you want row by row monitoring, then the Sentinel system basically integrates on. It's a isobus blockage monitor, and it reads a flow of every single row output across your planter and gives you an alert. So if one of your liquids is out 5%, one row's got a little piece of dirt or dust in it, it will actually give you an audible alarm. And those are customizable, so if 5% is too tight, you want it to be 25, well, perfect, we just adjust the alarm. Okay, any questions on SurePoint before I move on? And I'm around all day, so we can run demos and change recipes and that kind of stuff at any given point. All right, we'll shift over to our Kubota tractor over here now. So any of you that were here last year would have seen it out running here. We're damp enough with enough rain that we're not going to run it today. I'm not going to rip up Marty's nice grass here, so we'll just leave it sitting parked. But basically, we took an M5 Kubota with Sabonto, and we added their Stewart kit to it. So the Stewart kit basically makes that tractor level 5 autonomous, no driver required. We simply drive the boundary, any obstacles in the field, give it a heading of where we want it to basically drive with the implement width that we want it to run with, and it will actually do what you're telling it to do. I ran all day yesterday up at the Turf Symposium in Guelph. We ran in half an acre all day long, and it just kept going. We have access to the 3-point hitch, the PTO, 2 hydraulic remotes. We have a steering valve we put on the side because these tractors don't come guidance ready. We add 2 digital hydraulic remotes to the back so that we can electronically fold in a mower and lift a 3-point hitch or an axle assembly like the blade. And we put a dual GPS receiver up on the top. So the white domes that are on the top are basically dual GPS receiver. They're needed to basically know when that system first boots up, which direction it's facing. So we don't have to drive 150 feet and at a certain speed to kind of gain our heading. It knows as soon as it boots up where it's facing. And then we have dual cellular antennas on the roof. The owner of Sabonto, Craig Roop, used to work for Motorola. Cellular technology is kind of his bread and butter, and that was part of what was required in a lot of these scenarios to start getting into autonomy, was that constant communication. He's done a very, very nice job of setting up that cellular communication on that. Up on the top of the tree beside the receivers, there's 4 cameras, which gives us a 360-degree resolution around the tractor, so we can see anything around it at any given point. Those cameras are stereoscopic, so they do bulk density mapping as well as obstacle detection. And then out front of the camera on the front suitcase weights, there are 2 cameras up there. That gives us front LiDAR and thermal imaging. So we can detect and see anything with heat signature, like a groundhog, fawn laying in the hayfield, some person that walks in front of the tractor. Okay. If it detects anything with the heat signature, it stops 10 feet from it. Yeah.
No requirements from the manufacturer at all?
None.
So it's just
100% aftermarket installed. Yep. Today we can install on an M5 Kubota, a 5E series John Deere, a 5M series John Deere, and a 700 series Gen 6 Fendt. There's a lot more tractors in the works right now, but those are the ones that we have available kits for today. So far, I have run primary and secondary tillage with this tractor. I've run a stone rake. I've run a grain drill. I've run a tedder, hay rakes, turf grass mower, aggravator, and a roller. 100% autonomously.
So I sold for Deere for 30 years. Why would they start with the 5E and the 5M? Why wouldn't they start with the premium tractor?
Okay, so if you don't have an operator sitting on the seat, why do you need air conditioning or a cab? It's an added expense. So we've got 3 turf farms down in the US right now that are trading in 6Rs and buying 5Es. They don't have a cab, they don't have air suspension, they don't have the hydraulic suspension on the front. They don't need them. Nobody's bouncing around. And you've now gone from a $200,000 120 horse tractor to a 5E at $85,000 and no operator needed. In a turf grass institution where we've gone from that 5R, 6R series down to a 5E series, it's a 1-year return on investment. And I don't have an employee that I have to pay any of those extra pieces to.
That's a good answer. That's a very good answer.
The depreciation per hour on a 5R versus a 5E is about a quarter. Right? So it starts to make more common sense when we start looking through some of these pieces. Who here?
You said you had to drive the boundary in a turf grass scenario where they're cutting constantly. Can they
Yep.
save it and just redo it?
Absolutely.
And is there any, like, if you have your farm map, can you put shape files instead of driving it, or is it just better to drive it so that you're same day you know your obstacles?
We can load a GeoJSON file right into the system. A shape file doesn't have the trajectory and guidance accuracy in it, but a GeoJSON will pull that through. You can load any of your obstacles, and once you have that loaded in, that job stays saved. as far as creating the mission side of things, it's as simple as giving it a heading that you want it to drive and how many headland boundaries you want it to operate within. And it's pull it out into the field and hit go. At the turf show the other day, I was 18 minutes from unloading the tractor off until I was completed my first mission.
What's monitoring the implement? Like if you're say cutting turf, then you have a bearing go,
Yep.
belt brake. What's telling that tractor you have a problem back there?
Okay, so there is a module that we can install onto the implement that we can integrate shaft speed sensors to. Super inexpensive. I don't have to have deadly accuracy on those, so we can use a very low cost RPM sensor, and it'll pick up that the blades are all spinning underneath the mower. It'll pick up that the transmission on left side and right side gearbox are still fully operating, and it'll pick up on that as if it blows a shear pin. So on like a stone rake, knowing that the PTO or the arbor is still running and picking up stones guarantees that everything from the drive line straight through to the PTO is operational. If it misses one of those check-in points, then it shuts off. Yep. Yep, shoots you a text message with 4 pictures of a 360-degree around and pauses. When it completes a mission, it doesn't just pull over to the gate and shut off. It has an actual idle down time too. So if the tractor is running hot, it doesn't shut off a hot engine. It actually idles everything down properly, which is something an operator typically doesn't do. They just, well, I'm done. Gotta go, right? Down in Iowa, there's a company called Verbio. They're running 22 Fendt tractors today, and they're mowing corn stover with Hinnaker windrowing choppers. And they're baling corn stover basically for natural gas production. They haven't run an operator in a year and a half. And their maintenance cost on the on the universal joints and the PTO shafts is dropped by 75%. Because that tractor makes the same identical turn every single time and never overstrains the universal joint.
You don't have to worry about them coming to work and calling in sick.
Correct. And at 3 o'clock at night, their operators were typically shifting a gear so that they were done by 5. The tractor doesn't care. Right? Doesn't have a baseball game to go to or take the kids to daycare or I got to pick up the kids from school or whatever happens to be. The tractor just operates until it's done its job at the parameters that it ran. And yesterday I ran 2.5 miles an hour because I was in half an acre and I just let it go. Yeah.
I guess kind of the current law is you can't cross the road or have it go onto the road, so even if you had a field across the way, you still have to manually move it?
Correct. Yep. So the control panel that's just to the right of the ROPS there, to operate that tractor manually, you literally flip the 4 autonomy switches down. It drives like a normal tractor. Move it over to the next field, flip the 4 switches back on, load the template for that next job, and away you go. And we can build all of those templates ahead of time. So I can be, raking this field of hay and then move it to the other side of the road, rake that field of hay when it's done. If it's separated by an access path, so the field of soybean that's here versus the field of soybean that's over here, I can actually have it transition between the two of them legally without having to go and move it. I have to program that ahead of time, but it's something that we can program in. So in the turf grass market, typically there will be a header at the front of the field and there will be a set of culverts across. So when we're done the mission, we fold the wings up, we lift all the mowers up off the ground, we transition through that gate, unfold everything, set everything back down again, start the PTO, and away we go with the next mission.
Are there any states that are allowing to experiment or do anything on roads with tractors like the cars in that respect, or is it still just kind of a...
Still is not acceptable to cross a maintained road.
in any state or anything, even for experiment?
North America wise. Yeah. Now with some of the technology that we're playing with at Area XO and at the Smart Farm in Ottawa, we're actually going to be pushing some of the automotive programming into the tractors so that we can start working on it does obey by traffic lights and it does follow the roads and it does that kind of stuff. It's still not legal to operate in Canada that way yet, but we have to start somewhere, and this is a great opportunity to start with that. Yeah. Yeah.
Is there a cost per tractor, and is there an annual subscription per unit?
So the kit starts at about $90,000 to add the kit to any tractor. and it's $15,000 US per year for the subscription. So this is my tractor Deacon. His annual salary is 15 grand. As we start adding multiple tractors, that starts to change, right? Two of the operations down in, King Ranch Farms down in Texas have 8 units now. They're mowing 4,000 acres of sod a week. Yeah. How many of you guys have water ponding in your fields this year? We haven't had any rain this whole growing season, right? Where crops are in dire need of dry, and right. So one of the things that we started having conversations with a lot of growers in Eastern Ontario and in Ontario specifically over the last couple of years is water management. You know, we can add tile every 30 feet, or we can start splitting those 30s down into 15s. Or I've got one grower who's tiling right now, and they're 10-foot centers. And it's a tight clay soil, and the water just isn't getting to the tile. Well, when we start looking at the water management side of things, we're not getting these 1/2 inch and 2/10 rains anymore. We're getting 2.5 inches overnight. And there isn't just the water uptake in our soil structure to be able to take 2 inches of rain and have it fully off the field in a 72-hour period. So typically in 72 hours of water being stagnant in an area, there's multiple things that are happening, right? The crop health is declining. You're starting to see some added compaction in those areas. You're starting to see, the soil biology and the pH and, all your nutrients starting to leach and move and all that kind of fun stuff. So how do we fix that? And we went back with Hool. We signed up with Hool about 5 years ago to start selling their blades for them because they integrate with our Trimble displays and our grade control solutions and managing, that height of that blade automatically. So I brought in a 10-foot blade this summer. It's more of a demo blade that I can take to different farm operations. I can load it on my trailer, haul it down the road. It's really easy to transport, and we can basically bring it right out to your farm. So if you have water issues that you're wanting to try a system out, we can bring one out to let you see it. And the drainage side of things at the end of the day is pull into the field and create a topography map. Once I grab that topography map, I can wirelessly pull it from our Trimble displays. I load it into a software called WM Form, which is on my laptop here if you want to see what it looks like. And I can create you a drainage cut fill map. And in a lot of the scenarios, we're only cutting a couple inches, plus or minus. In most of the maps that I've done, even this year, we're taking a 1/16 or an 1/8 of an acre pond, and in order to get it to efficiently drain, it's an 1.25 inches of soil that needs to move. It's not a lot of material because I don't want to make it flat. I want to maximize the efficiency of the topography that you already have to make sure that water gets off that field and to the ditch or a catch basin or a pond or whatever happens to be that you have for an outlet so that crop continues to thrive and grow. And in my opinion, and take it for what it's worth, but that water management is the starting of nutrient repair in a field. We can go in and we can create a soil sampling grid and we can pull it, but there's got to be a way of fixing those issues before we start throwing a whole lot of money at fertilizer and lime and that kind of stuff, or it'll just continue. And water management with landforming becomes something that everybody can do. You don't have to own a big tile plow and bury a whole bunch of pipe. It's moving a little soil around to make sure that we have some water use efficiency. And it's no different than running a variable rate map on your sprayer, except we're not running a gallons per acre type rate. We're running a elevation at that point, and it just lifts and lowers the blade. Okay.
We'd have to do that in bare ground, though?
Yeah, doing that with a crop probably wouldn't be a good idea. No.
Even the residue from
Yeah, tillage is going to be your friend at that point. Typically, I'm not landforming after corn. I'll do it after a wheat or soybean. November, December, January, February aren't typically dry enough to landform either. Water is not our friend because we want that soil basically while we're working it up to actually flow out of the blade. Yep. So this week would not be a good day to landform either, right? We've got this month, yeah. We've got probably 800 acres of landforming projects we've done already this year, just building the design files for different producers, and I'm waiting for Warren to go out and survey his, and we'll get his designed and built for him as well. But it makes a huge difference on that farm operation when you start, looking at that ponding is now gone. And Mike, you've had some experience with some of your producers on the landforming projects that we've worked with.
Yep, it just takes away those small. They're usually not big areas that sometimes they are.
Yeah.
But usually it's taking the small areas that water's laying, and it's always laying.
Yeah.
It just gets away that more of a crown instead of a depression.
Yep. We had the field across from the bowling alley in North Gore. We landformed it 2 weeks ago. So if you're driving through there, we landformed that field. It didn't get planted because, well, a week and a half ago we were just finally able to evict the ducks and the geese that were swimming still in that pond. But I mean, it's a really small area that has never produced really well for us because it's just, they dug out the municipal ditch, and where did it go? Right at the edge where it needed to drain. And when we looked at the topography of that field was actually sloping towards fourth line and not to the municipal ditch. Well, it goes the other way now, and very quickly. So there's a cover crop in there after we landformed it, and we're going to basically let everything settle, and then we'll do a final pass over it after we terminate that cover crop and before next spring. Because on that field we moved, I think it was 90 yards an acre in material with a 10-foot blade. So it wasn't a huge amount of soil. I've had a couple projects where the growers have had to move about 130, 140 yards an acre. On average, I would say we're moving 25 to 40 yards an acre. So if you look at a triaxle load of soil at 17 yards, we're really not moving a lot of material, right? Get a load of gravel and see how far it goes up your driveway, right? It's not a lot. So it's something that we're increasingly talking about more. One of my team members, Rob Sample, he was here last year at this event. He's in Denver right now getting certified on Trimble's new water management software that goes in our new displays. So he will have that. I had 2 events this week, so I wasn't able to attend, but he's down there right now in Denver getting certified on that system. So as we get the final release on that, we'll be able to talk about the new displays and how they can manage that water for us as well, and some of the accuracy increases that go along with it.